Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining here tonight for World AIDS Day. And for those of you watching on YouTube, we thank you for joining us this evening for this important day to honor World AIDS Day. It's a holiday season with lots of events that are coming up, so I just want to remind you that we're having a Blue Christmas service at 6:30. And winter solstice celebration at 7 o'clock. And so that's December 12th for Blue Christmas and December 21st for World Solstice. Also kind of solemn events, things that give you an opportunity to pause from the regular regalia of Christmas and Advent celebrations. And since we've gathered here this evening for this purpose, we're going to give ourselves a moment to breathe and center. So let's bring ourselves to this time and to this place. From whatever it is that you have come from, and whatever it is that you are going to, in this moment we pause. Let's shake out whatever it is that's stuck in our bodies, breathing into ourselves, shaking out what is maybe stuck in our emotional selves as well, breathing into that. Do you have any intellectual looping that you're doing that you want to shake out? Help your brain to be in this moment. Not in the moments prior, not in the future, but here. Are you stuck in your spirit, maybe in some place, in some way, somehow? And you need to breathe into that and shake it out. Imagine the sun rising on a body of water, and the temperature changes just right that you can see steam or mist coming off of that water. Allow your day, or whatever has been going on for you this week, to be like that mist that is just allow it to float away. Whatever is able to be brought to the surface, whatever it is that you need to let go of, in whatever way you need to do that, for whatever reason you need to do that, so that you can be present right now. Allow that steam to rise, to dissipate, so that you, as that body of water, can be who you need to be. Breathe in and breathe out as we begin this service together.
Join me in the call to worship. Tonight we remember together our family, friends, and loved ones who have lost their battle with HIV/AIDS.
We feel the pain of grief in each other's company.
Tonight we remember together our family, friends, loved ones, and ourselves who are living with HIV/AIDS.
We reach out to each other for strength, comfort, and the particular understanding which we share together.
Tonight, we deeply breathe in the presence of the holy and of each other.
Together, in love and in remembrance.
First biblical witness, 1 John chapter 2, verses 7 through 11. Beloved, I am writing you no new commandment, but an old commandment that you have had from the beginning. The old commandment is the word that you have heard. Yet I am writing you a new commandment that is true in him and in you, because the darkness is passing away and the true light is already shining. Whoever says, I am in the light, while hating a brother or sister, is still in the darkness. Whoever loves a brother or sister lives in the light, and in such a person there is no cause for stumbling. But whoever hates another believer is in the darkness, walks in the darkness, and does not know the way to go, because the darkness has brought on blindness.
Our next reading is called I Shall Gather Up. It's a poem by Athy Thompson. I shall gather up all the lost souls that wander this earth, all the ones that are alone, all the ones that are broken, all the ones that never really fitted in. I shall gather them all up, and together we shall find our home.
The second contemporary witness. I was ashamed. I kept asking how this could be, by Raya. It has almost been 8 months since I was diagnosed with HIV, and I immediately started on my ART treatment. I was confused, ashamed. I kept asking how this could be, and I definitely thought I was dying. Slowly but surely, I'm beginning to accept that HIV is going to be a part of me, and I definitely have control over it. Yes, it's hard sometimes. I cry myself to sleep, but eventually life goes on. I haven't told any of my family yet because I'm still gathering courage to do so. Only 2 of my friends know. To anyone reading this, I want you to know that there is no rush at all. Tell people when you feel you're ready. It's your choice, so take your time if you need to. But most importantly, if you haven't yet begun your medication, please do so.
In the midst of Advent, of gathering Christmas presents and decorating, listening to holiday music, planning for guests, or maybe you're the one traveling to be a guest, we encounter this day, World AIDS Day. It looks a little out of place, doesn't it? That altar over there, that decoration there, these little bowl of red ribbons, amidst all this festive holiday decorations. Well, grief and sickness generally feel out of place. As I was putting all this together, I thought this is really quite fitting that it doesn't really work all together. Sometimes I try to make a little alcove of something that's all on its own, and I thought, no, this year this feels right that it feels wrong. There we are, we're living our life, and suddenly everything changes. We get a diagnosis, or someone we know and love gets a diagnosis. Sickness happens. Death happens. Infrequently, we can say things like, this was the right time. My father died at 89. The only regret was he really wanted to make it to 90, but his death was so merciful. And he died in a way that was something that was fairly easy compared to so many others. I can look at that and say, well, that made sense. I didn't like it. But most of the time it doesn't. Today we encounter World AIDS Day, a disease which never makes sense, one that can now often be fairly well controlled with the medication that the writer talks about. And yet the medications come with their own sets of complications. Every once in a while we hear about that. Someone will dare to say, yeah, my AIDS is controlled and managed, but this is what happens to my body with all that stuff. Why World AIDS Day? There are so many diseases. Why does this one get a day? Well, here's some background. The first reported cases of HIV/AIDS in 1981 began a new wave of prejudice and fear of the LGBTQ plus communities. They started to call the disease the gay plague. According to HIVhistory.org, it says on June 5th, 1981, the first published report emerged of 5 previously healthy young men in Los Angeles diagnosed with what would soon become known as AIDS. 1 year later, the first AIDS case was reported in sub-Saharan Africa. This pandemic seemed to come out of nowhere. Conservatives started to blame the gay community and called this a curse from God. HIV/AIDS grew to pandemic proportions, which only increased the curse and judgment rhetoric from conservative religious leaders. Research for the cure was not initiated. Care for the afflicted was ignored. The stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS grew and grew, causing the death of so many. So, the altar, it's a bit out of place, surrounded by all these Christmas decorations. But it should be, because it represents just how out of place it is that it took so long for a disease of this magnitude to garner the kind of attention that it needed. It's out of place that for so long people afflicted with AIDS were shunned politically, medically, and personally in many places and by many people. They still are. A core value of our ministries here at Plymouth center around removing stigmatization, whether it's companionship orientation, gender identity and expression, mental health challenges, physical health challenges, not having enough money to make ends meet, or anything else which can land a person firmly in the camp of someone saying, "You're not good enough." The truth is, God never says, "You're not good enough." People might. God doesn't. While people focus on a disease which makes them afraid or uncomfortable, God focuses on a person in love and grace and mercy. While people look at decorations and celebrations wishing there was a more convenient time to deal with the hardship of disease and death, God embraces each moment as an opportunity to be a companion in sickness and in health, in mourning and in celebration. And we're able to hold all these things at the same time, uncomfortable and incongruous as they seem. And while it feels like too much, we're here to support each other, to lean into each other and agree that this is hard and it sucks. But it's also true and real and important. Today, as we encounter World AIDS Day, we remember the past, raising our voices in despair and grief of loss. We also lift up our voices to generate energy for the future and to declare that all are worthy of love. But that's easy to say, isn't it? All are worthy of love, and we go around in a little cloud balloon of lovey-doveyness, and we're like, we love everybody. But what are we doing? All are worthy of love, and that love warrants actions, medical actions, relational actions, political actions. We are the ones who create wholeness out of the abstract patterns that present themselves to us. Just like we are the ones that can create wholeness out of this visual, apparent disparity and say, yes, this all belongs together. Today, President Joe Biden gave his World AIDS Day address. So here's a little bit of good news. Something that helps me believe that the work we've all been doing to destigmatize HIV and AIDS is making a difference. He said his plan is to make sure that the latest advancements in HIV prevention, diagnosis, and treatment are available to everyone, regardless of race, age, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, or other factors. It's much like our open and affirming statement, isn't it, here at Plymouth? He said it shouldn't matter where you live in the country or how much you make. He also said that his strategy takes on racial and gender disparities in our health system that for too long affected HIV outcomes in our country to ensure that our national responses are truly equitable. So that's good news. I mean, we've heard some kind of rhetoric like this before, on and off. But whenever we do hear it, on those off years that we don't, it's a refreshing relief, and I know that there's going to be another wave of improvements, another wave of seeing things get a little bit better and hopefully ending this thing that can be ended. Things have changed in the last 40 years since AIDS was first diagnosed. We've a lot of work left to do, but we can also be grateful for the advances that we've seen. That said, there are some of us who are afflicted with this disease today. That's one of the reasons we gather. And for those who will always grieve, those that we've lost, we gather together today to see each other and to support each other. We're going to be going into a ritual, but first I want us to pause and listen to the special music. Give us a moment to meditate. The song that is going to be sung is Precious. And then I will tell you a little bit more about the ritual.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I've learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a sky bird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you,
Because I knew you,
I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for.
But then I guess we know there's blame to share.
And none of it seems to matter anymore.
Like a promise pulled from
Like a ship blown from
as
its
it passes
mooring
the
by a
sun.
wind off the sea.
Like a wave that meets
Like a
a
sea
boulder
dropped by a bird
halfway
in
through
the wood. Who can say
if I've been changed for the better?
I do believe I have been changed for the better.
And because I knew you,
Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good.
On World AIDS Day, we often wear red ribbons. And we're kind of a country of ribbon wearers. You know, we've got flags and we've got ribbons and we wear things to designate certain times and seasons. And I think that that's really good, and I certainly participate in that. But for the past few years, we've been tying these ribbons onto the candelabra. And I love how it's growing and building, and it stands as a witness to both our pain, our grief, and our hope, and our fight, our tenacity. You know, you could keep using words to say what it stands for you. So I've got a bowl of ribbons up here. And I'm going to ask you to come around this side and to take a ribbon and or two or three, there's plenty, and to tie a ribbon around the candelabra as a witness. Marshall will be playing piano during this. And for those of you who are watching online, I don't know if you have a red ribbon handy, but I'm sure that there's something next to you that you can cite as a symbol. Maybe you're wearing a red ribbon, but something that you can cite and say, this is the moment that they did this ritual. This is the moment that we did it together. So I invite you to join us as we move to tie these ribbons on the candelabra as a witness. would you join your hearts with mine in prayer? Oh God, we look upon these ribbons now, witnesses that they've been over the years, and we let them bring up for us whatever emotions that we need, whatever thoughts that we need, whatever prayers that come into our spirits. As the years go by and this grows, may we see a diminishing of this scourge, but never a lessening of the memories in our hearts of those that we've lost and loved. And yet help our hearts, tender as they are, reveal those loved ones within ourselves that we live into their friendship, into who they are and were for us. And that because of who they are, we are better. Help us to embrace the incongruity of it all as the holy chaos that you created out of, according to our creation myth. And always to lean into one another in these moments, in all moments like this, complicated as they are, and find your mercy. Amen.
Donations in honor of tonight's service will go to the AIDS Foundation Houston, AFH, which leads the innovative efforts in the prevention of new HIV infections and empowers individuals, families, and communities affected by HIV/AIDS to create and sustain healthy lives. AIDS Foundation Houston, Incorporated, envisions a supportive community free of new HIV infections, where individuals affected by HIV/AIDS lead healthy and productive lives without stigma and discrimination. If you would like to give to our general fund or to AFH, you can use bill pay from your bank, send us a check, use the Plymouth app, or use PushPay according to the directions on your screen. Please join me in the offertory prayer. We are all one human family. In your love, you created us. Through your grace, you reach out to us. You are great enough to hold us all in your arms at the same time. Help us to open our hearts to the world that you love. Teach us to weave our lives together. We yield to Spirit, offering what we have to the greater good. In this way, each day we begin again in love.
And now, my friends, it's time to move from this moment to the next. May the experience of this time together be a kind of bridge to your next moments. Something that you can look back on when you feel the rushing water at your feet and you don't know where to stop. And you wonder if the rock that you're about to step on that's going to keep you from going under has slime all over it, or if it's got some traction to it. May the memory of this service be the traction on that rock. As you're going through life and the wind is buffeting you and you're not sure if when you turn the next corner, if it's going to be even stronger or if that's going to offer you some relief, may the memory of this time that we've shared together and the support that we offer one another allow that corner turn to be a shelter from the strength of that wind. Maybe what you're about to go into feels really hot, like the sun just belting down on you like a Texas summer day with no clouds. May this moment be like a tree that's all leafed out, available for you to find some shade under, some cool relief, a moment of reprieve. Say, I had a moment. It helped me then, and it's going to help me now. may you find this moment in unexpected times, when it doesn't even make sense, and everything around you looks one way, but as odd as it seems, this is the moment. The colors are all wrong, and the shapes are all wrong, and the energy of it is so different, but it's the moment that comes and offers you a sanctuary to the upheaval, to the unexpectedness that you are not looking forward to. May this moment offer you stability and a reminder that you're not alone, that you are enough, and that you are deeply, wonderfully loved enough to take action for. And in this way, may you go forth in peace and as peacemakers, my friends.